Hey everybody, thank you for checking out the video. I wanted to do a quick recap of the point that I think RFK messed up the most, his weakest point in the real debate. This is not to overly criticize RFK. He said a lot of great stuff, but you can only talk about the great stuff so much. Let's just get right to the worst point, because that's kind of the more interesting thing, to talk about the worst point rather than all the great stuff that he did say. So, I didn't watch the CNN debate. I'm not watching Biden and Trump or CNN, some ridiculous debate that they have going on. But I did watch the RFK one, and I thought he did great. There was just this one point that I didn't like very much, and the main issue that I have with him. But I am probably going to vote for him still. I mean, I'm pretty certain at this point I'm voting for RFK Jr., but he's really horrible on the Israel issue. It's the only point that I don't agree with him on, for the most part. There might be a couple other small things, but I think overall he's the best option, and it's more of just a protest vote, if anything else. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to win. I don't think they would let that happen, because he's the actual true anti-establishment candidate out of the three. Trump is made out to be, but I think RFK is even more so. So yeah, I am voting for the guy. I do like RFK, and excited about the real debate that he has going on here. I do like his positions on most stuff, but I just wanted to point out the one issue that I don't like, and the weakest point of the real debate from RFK Jr.
Again, Mr. Kennedy, you may have forgotten the original question, which was, as president, what leverage would you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war?
Well, I would have used more diplomacy from the beginning. I think we have to recognize a couple of things. One is we're a nation of compassion. All of us are heartbroken by seeing the bloodshed that's happening in Gaza. All of us are affected and horrified by the injuries to the civilians in Gaza and the damage to innocents in Gaza. We also have to understand that Israel is in an existential battle now, and that Hamas, which is a genocidal organization, which is pledged to Israel's annihilation, it's pledged to the extermination of Jews, and it does not want a two-state solution. It wants a one-state solution, which is Israel gone. And it actually has in its charter a provision that says that it is against Islamic law to even negotiate with Israel. Oh, Israel's in a five-front war with Hamas, which is a proxy of Iran, with the Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, with Hezbollah, these are all proxies of Iran, in Lebanon, and with the Houthis in Yemen. And it's being attacked on two fronts right now. It is at full war with Hezbollah. And we have to let Israel disarm Hamas. We have to support them. Israel's our oldest ally. It is the only democracy in the Mideast. If you can imagine what a world would be like without Israel, for the first time in 80 years, people are entertaining that possibility. And in 5 or 10 years, Israel may not exist, because they're no longer dealing with weakened forces that they were in the 2000s and 1967 and 1956, et cetera. Hezbollah is the most proficient guerrilla army in the world, probably in history. Iran is now a superpower in the Mideast and has the capacity to maintain a war. So we need, and to wipe out Israel. We need to support Israel, but we need to use diplomacy, and the people in the White House are not capable of doing that. We need to bring in President Xi. We need to bring in President Putin. We even need to be negotiating with Iran. And the neocons in the White House see us as a bipolar world where the United States is dominating the world and won't negotiate with anybody. And that is the problem that caused this.
Back to CNN.
Okay, he ended strong there, but before that, he's using these mainstream narrative propaganda talking points. And I'm no expert on the issue, of course, obviously, but he is a smart person, and he knows that it is a very nuanced situation that has been going on since the beginning of time, and the least he could do is just say something more generalized and say, call for a ceasefire, for example. Say that we're going to work and try to come to a ceasefire agreement and work with both sides and try to make this work without any more people dying and trying to minimize the human casualties. So that's all we want to hear him say. We just don't want to. We don't want him to be bought out by the Israel lobby, which I don't know for sure he is or what. But we just want a more generalized position here, because too one-sided, I think, on this issue, and that's my main problem with it. So yeah, this is the point that I don't agree with him on, obviously. A lot of people don't. When he first started his campaign, I was very excited, very into it, very motivated. After a series of interviews on this topic that I watched of him and his conclusions and his position, I lost a lot of motivation in his campaign. Like, I wouldn't actively go out and campaign for him after that, but I do still like him a lot, and I do still think that I will vote for him. And I haven't voted since 2008 when I wrote in Ron Paul, but I think I'll go vote for him this time, and I think he is the best candidate. I think the COVID policies and regime are the biggest issue this election season, and I think he is by far the best candidate to go after that. Somebody needs to strip Big Pharma of its crazy power, basically. This drug institution, this cartel that runs everybody's lives, basically, at this point. Everybody's addicted to some drug. Everybody's on some sort of medication. Everybody was forced to take the vaccination during COVID, basically. Some people got away without doing it, luckily. But somebody has to take on this Big Pharma issue. I think RFK Jr. is the best one to do it, and I by no means want to discredit him completely. I just wanted to point out the weakest point, in my opinion, that he made, or, the worst part of the real debate. The rest of it was great. I really thought it was a great idea, and they pulled it off wonderfully. But yeah, this issue was the big one for me. Later on, he goes on to ask RFK if he would support a free Palestinian state, and RFK can't even say that, and he redirects the question. So I think that was probably the worst part, maybe even worse than this clip. I don't know. But that's how I feel about it. I'm still voting for the guy. I think everybody should vote for RFK, probably, even if it's just a protest vote. But that's my opinion. This was the weakest point that he made during the real debate. I do these commentary videos about politics and current event issues, and I make current event parody raps here on this channel. So if you want to check out some of the parody raps, you can head over to the channel, hit subscribe, check out some of the videos, and I will see you on another day or something. Or not, or I won't. Maybe I won't. Or I will. Maybe I will. But yeah, just wanted to jump on for that. Have a good rest of your night. See you later. Bye.